Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grimwit with Dimwits. I'm T.
And I'm Blondie.
Are you ready for our current event 0 cents, Miss Blondie?
I'm always ready for these. I always need a good laugh.
We're just going to jump right into this one. I was watching YouTube, and I saw a video where a bank is being robbed, and the police are already notified. They know that the thief is still inside, so they wait outside for him to come out. Suddenly, they see someone busting open up a panel of the awning in the bank's drive-thru, at the top.
Right.
The thief falls through the opening as the police are walking up. But hold on, it gets better. What's awesome is that the thief fell straight into one of those great big blue trash cans with wheels. He falls in feet first, and he just kind of gets stuck in there because they're really tall. So the cops walk right up and just roll him away. Talk about taking out the trash.
Oh my God. Okay, I had visions of one of those ones that had the tops on them. So he lands and the top slams on his head.
It did have a top, but the top was open, so it didn't land on his head. But it was so perfect. He fell through, and the cops were walking up, and he just went, boom, landed right in the trash can. I was like, all right, man-sized trash cans. I love it.
Well, you know what? That's karma.
It was perfect. It's like, they couldn't have done that any better if they tried.
Those are the best ones.
They really are, and that's what he gets. So anyway, so what do you have for us today, Miss Blondie?
Okay, talk about enough nonsense. I think the story is going to actually continue that nonsense.
Don't they all?
They do. This episode is about a doctor named Randeep Mann. Now, he was born in India, and from the get-go, he wanted to become a doctor. He completed his medical school and his residency in India, but as he got further along, he began to realize that in India, he would never really reach his full potential. So at 22 years old, he made a life-changing decision. He left everything familiar, and he moved to the United States.
Wow. I'm always impressed with how, fierce people are who can just drop everything and move to a foreign country. I don't know if I have that in me.
Maybe at 22, because realistically, other than your family, what do you have established?
That's true. And you really aren't smart enough to know how dangerous it is at 22. So yeah, maybe at 22, I could have done it.
Well, I hope he's a little smart. He is a doctor after all.
Well, let's see. Let's see how smart he is.
And the story continues. A few years after he moved, he fell in love and got married. Within 5 years, he was blessed with a son and a daughter. Dr. Mann wanted the American dream. He had two priorities, his family and the practice of medicine. He often said he became a doctor to give back to the community. Emergency medicine seemed to be his true calling, and he worked in some of the most respected hospitals in the country. Places like Johns Hopkins and Mount Sinai, treating patients from all walks of life. And those patients adored him. They trusted him. To them, he wasn't just a doctor, he was a lifeline.
Well, good for him. It sounds like he's on the right track.
He's starting off that way, yep. In 1998, Dr. Mann was out riding his motorcycle and got into an accident. The accident changed everything. Dr. Mann's back was severely injured, and the damage was devastating to someone working in the emergency room. You have to be on your feet for hours, moving fast, reacting quickly. He just couldn't do it anymore. So he was forced to shift paths. Nothing in his professional life would ever be the same.
So that kind of sounds like the storyline of that Netflix show, Nurse Jackie. Have you ever seen it?
I know what you're talking about, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, she's an ER nurse. She's got bad back and she's hooked on drugs. It almost sounds exactly the same. And I'm on the last season, so I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but it's good.
No spoiler alerts.
Different show.
The one good thing that came out of the accident was that Dr. Mann developed more empathy for his patients, their pain, and what they might be going through. And I hate that that's a good thing, and most doctors are empathetic, but some just don't have the compassion and bedside manner that's needed to be a doctor. I personally know 2 that I no longer go to. I actually told one other receptionist that called me after 2 years, "Oh, it's time for your checkup." I told her I wouldn't be back in. She asked why. I said, "'Cause the doctor's an ass." Ironically, she didn't sound surprised.
She spends more time with him than you do. I'm sure she's well aware of that.
And I'm sure that's not the first time that she heard that either.
Probably not.
So, making the hard decision, he picked up his family and they moved to Russellville, Arkansas, to open his own practice. He figured that having his own practice was the next best thing to emergency medicine. Dr. Mann opened his practice and started out in general medicine, but over time, he progressed into pain management. Pain management meant that he was prescribing drugs such as opiates and pain meds. They eventually became the bulk of his practice.
Ooh, that's not good. I'm being a little bit judgy right now.
And we only just began.
I know, but already on the wrong track.
Dr. Mann did well in Russellville. Everyone knew who he was and were very impressed by him. His waiting room was always full, with even people waiting outside for their appointments. He would work late into the evening to help his patients and the community. He was considered caring, trusting, and made his patients feel comfortable. If they couldn't pay their bill, he would take what they could give. He was said to be a really nice guy.
He kind of sounds like those old country house call doctors where they start, trading chickens and fresh eggs for treatment.
A little bartering going on there.
Yeah.
In 1999, Teresa Harris, her husband, and daughter Ellie had made several trips to Russellville with the idea of buying some property and moving there. On one of their visits, an ice storm had blown through the area. In the middle of it, Ellie slipped hard and suffered a severe injury. The pain was overwhelming. Ellie needed help. She needed medication strong enough to keep her pain under control, at least until she could get proper treatment. The injury would become far more significant than anyone realized at the time. The Harris family searched for trusted referrals, hoping to find a doctor who could truly help Ellie. Dr. Mann came highly recommended. He shared that he once had injured his own back, so he understood the pain Ellie was experiencing, and he made himself available whenever they needed him. He often reminded his patients that if they were ever struggling, they could call him anytime, day or night. He assured the family that he takes care of his patients.
That's a lot of extra for a doctor. Anytime, day or night, and these are brand new patients?
Well, his whole thing was helping the community. That's what his goal in life was.
Sounds too good to be true.
Well, you never know.
I know. I don't trust anymore. Can you tell?
A little bit. Initially, Ellie was making good progress. However, as time went on, her mother noticed that she was sleeping longer hours, and she wasn't as alert. Worried, her mother got Ellie's prescriptions to see what she was taking. She was prescribed hydrocodone, and the dosage had steadily increased. Hydrocodone is an opioid that over time can become addicting, and patients who have had addiction in the past should not take it. One would think that would be the first thing a doctor would ask before prescribing such an addictive substance. Ellie did have a drug history she rarely talked about. When she was in the 9th grade, she had a group of friends who were experimenting with hard drugs, dangerous substances no teenager should have access to. She spiraled quickly, even using heroin. I never really thought of doing drugs, let alone injecting heroin in the 9th grade. That's pretty hardcore.
I like how you say in the 9th grade and you leave it open for 10th grade and up. Did you catch that part?
Apparently not.
I've never done them and never will, but hey, that's me.
Maybe in the 11th grade.
You're like, 11th grade is old enough.
Ellie's parents took her to rehab the day after they found out about the drug use. She got sober and had remained sober. It was a dark chapter in her past, one that she wanted to leave behind. That was until she put her trust in Dr. Mann. Besides hydrocodone, she was also prescribed Xanax. Talk about a pain-free high and being relaxed about it.
Jeez, it's ridiculous.
Ellie's mother is furious. All she could think about was that she put her trust and faith in this highly recommended doctor to help her child.
But if her parents knew she was sober, why in the heck didn't they see what she was given before it was given to her? I mean, come on, parents, do your job.
I don't know. I guess they trusted him, and that was that.
How silly is that? They don't know this guy.
This highly recommended doctor had expanded his practice to 7 days a week. He was considered one of the most respected physicians within a 100-mile radius. With thousands of patients, he had fulfilled his goal when entering into medicine, to help as many people as he possibly could. With his practice growing and his reputation preceding him, he also made a lot of money. Even though that wasn't his primary motivation, it was definitely a perk. He would splurge on his passions, which were cars and guns. He would send videos home to his family in India, showing them his large car collection and him shooting off guns. So in the show I watched, I saw one of the videos that he sent his family, and he was shooting off a rifle, something that looked like what a sharpshooter would use with one of those little T-stands to hold it up. I thought it was a little excessive for personal use, but maybe that's just me.
Anything high powered is beyond excessive. Why would you need that?
For show.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to say the thing. He's expanding and doing well, but no matter what you call it, I think he's kind of a drug dealer. Plus, I was getting the impression he was thriving off of the power and the perks.
Well, he sounds like he's way more than kind of a drug dealer. He sounds like he's all in. I mean, the guy's open 7 days a week.
It's strange. Despite what had gone on with Ellie and the prior addiction, Dr. Mann genuinely seemed invested in her recovery, which made her parents overlook other warning signs until it was too late. I want to say that Ellie was in her late teens, maybe 20-ish at the time.
I wondered, I was going to ask you, because it was like, I thought she was younger, and that's why her parents should have had more control, but she was a grown-up.
Believing things were finally in a good place, Ellie's parents decided to take a short trip to Las Vegas. They left Ellie and her cousin back in Russellville to watch the apartment while they were away. But almost as soon as their plane touched down, the phone rang. It was Ellie's cousin. Ellie had overdosed. By the time help arrived, it was too late. Toxicology would later show a lethal amount of hydrocodone in her system.
Jeez, I feel so bad for them, but what terrible timing for a trip to Vegas. Just saying.
Maybe, but I think that at that point they figured things had settled down and were better. During this time, across the country, it seemed that a lot of doctors were making quick money, cash in particular, by prescribing drugs. In the community of Russellville, the coroner started noticing that there had been an increase of overdose deaths. Investigators started looking into a pattern from evidence collected that a number of the prescription bottles led back to Dr. Mann. Another one of Dr. Mann's patients was a young woman named Shelley Green. Growing up, Shelley was the kind of teenager who seemed to shine everywhere she went. Drill team, acting, public speaking. She was outgoing, confident, and deeply involved in school life. But everything changed when she was 14. Her parents went through a bad divorce. Shelley took it hard, much harder than her sister. To cope, she began going to parties and eventually started using party drugs. Her sister assumed it was just a phase, typical teenage rebellion, and eventually she would grow out of it, but Shelley didn't. In fact, things only started to go downhill from there. I wonder when people are using drugs to cope, if there's something else going on. Are they fragile mentally as well?
I have no idea.
Shelley ended up in rehab several times, but she would go right back to drugs as soon as things and life got difficult. A friend of hers told her that she could get pain medication from Dr. Mann pretty easily, so she began seeing him. Just like Ellie's mom, Shelley's sister believed that Dr. Mann had a medical responsibility to know his patient's history and be accountable for what he prescribed. On May 30th, 2002, Shelley's mother found her unconscious in bed. She tried shaking her awake, but Shelley didn't respond. Fearing the worst, she called the police and an ambulance. As officers searched her purse to determine what she might have taken, they discovered an overwhelming number of prescription bottles. So many that it seemed like a miracle she hadn't died already in her sleep. Among the drugs found was Demerol, and that's used to treat moderate to severe pain. They give it at urgent care or if someone's going to have a painful procedure. I had it when I was in labor because I was too far dilated for an epidural, and I really needed something.
Okay, that's a TMI for all of us. Thank you very much.
Just saying. But the funny part was my daughter was delivered a little loopy.
That explains a lot.
I was waiting for that comment. Shelley eventually regained consciousness and was later questioned by police about how she obtained so many prescription medications from her doctor. She explained that she visited him every 2 weeks for a new prescription and admitted that she didn't need health insurance. She was trading sexual favors for drugs. Shelley continued telling the police that she would visit him at the clinic at the end of the day. Dr. Mann would give her a shot of Demerol, they would have sex, and then he would give her additional prescription pills.
Okay, what? With everything you said about him so far, I did not see that coming.
That really did come out of left field. Talk about bartering.
Wow.
Investigators began building a case against Dr. Mann for abuse of his medical license. They discovered that he had inappropriate sexual relationships with several of his female patients. They asked Shelley to wear a wire, but she refused. Whether it was a need for drugs, the influence Dr. Mann held over them, or the embarrassment involved in saying, "This is what I did to get these drugs," no one was willing to cooperate. Dr. Mann was in a position of power. If they went against him, they wouldn't be able to get the drugs that they wanted and were addicted to. The drugs that, basically he got them addicted to.
He's just straight up a drug lord with a medical license. I mean, this guy had so much opportunity to do great things, and he blew it for money and power.
And it didn't really seem like he started out that way.
No, it didn't seem like he started out that way, but he learned real quick what was important, and it obviously wasn't his patience.
And I don't really know if that's considered the American dream.
I'm not going to blame Americans for any of that nonsense. He's not from here.
What they see on the outside, right?
Yep. It's what they want it to be. It's what they envision. Doesn't mean that's what it is.
So on top of that, he hired some of the best attorneys in Arkansas. When investigators attempted to search his clinic, he denied them access, and the case stalled. Dr. Mann is referred to the Arkansas State Medical Board. Dr. Carlos Roman was on the state medical board and said that it's really a big red flag when a doctor won't let you search their clinic. It's the easiest thing that you can do, like to prove that you're innocent. And if there's nothing wrong, then there's nothing wrong. Dr. Mann acknowledged that there were complaints accusing him of exchanging sex for drugs, but he insisted he had done nothing wrong. He denied any inappropriate sexual contact with his patients and claimed that the allegations of trading sex for prescriptions were completely untrue. This guy has so many red flags.
Yeah, he's definitely the lowest of the lowest, taking advantage of truly sick people that he's making sick.
I mean, some of them, they don't sound like they're that sick, but he's still taking advantage overall.
Well, no, I'm talking about the drug addiction sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick by choice, but you're still sick if you need it that bad.
True. In 2003, Dr. Mann had appeared before the Arkansas State Medical Board. He is accused of overprescribing more than 22 patients, 9 of which overdosed and 5 had died. He continued to fight for his business and his reputation, but they suspended his DEA license, which is Drug Enforcement Agency license.
Mm-hmm.
He can still work to some degree, but he can't prescribe any narcotics. Of course, after Dr. Mann's license was suspended, overdose.
English. Try English.
Overdose. That was right.
Yes, it was. Keep going.
Overdose deaths in the Russellville area suddenly fell. Is this where we say it doesn't take a brain surgeon to see what's going on? But he's not done yet. Dr. Mann wants his DEA license back. He didn't want to give up the power he loved, the power that he felt every time a patient needed him, every time he wrote a prescription. He figured if I control the drugs I give them, I, in a way, control them. Talk about a huge power trip.
Seriously.
Dr. Mann filed multiple lawsuits claiming discrimination. Discrimination for what? I am unsure of. But almost a year later, in July 2004, he got his DEA license back. It's insane to think he's going to change his ways, and in no time, he's more popular than ever. Patients began traveling from across the state to visit him. Ironically, the attention created by his suspended license acted as free advertising.
Well, he can only do what they allow him and give him full permission to do. Any future deaths will now be the fault of the DEA licensing department. How could they possibly give him his license back?
Who knows what was in those lawsuits and what he was claiming? Within a few months, the pattern of overdoses and deaths began to reappear. Part of the problem was that when people returned to him after being away for a year, their tolerance for the drugs had dropped. But they went right back to taking the same dosage that they had been using before his suspension, and for many, it pretty much killed them. He had to have known this. So much for him doing what's best for his patients.
Oh, he's definitely not that guy anymore. He hasn't been for a long time. It's about power now.
When Dr. Mann was reinstated, Shelley went right back to him. The prescriptions started again. So it's the drugs for her and the power for him, but they didn't say whether or not they went back to their other activities, how she would get them. But I pretty much assume that she did or they did.
Well, I'm sure she didn't get insurance between then and now. So that's how she was getting them before. And I have a question. Is his wife still with him after all this?
Yes, she is.
Ugh, disgusting.
One day, Shelley went to visit her mother and an argument broke out. In the middle of it, Shelley snapped, lashing out and striking her mother square in the face. It was a moment that showed just how bad the drugs had affected her and little control she had left. Man, the worst I ever did when I was mad at my mother was, stick my tongue out once I was around the corner and she could no longer see me.
You're such a thug. Shame on you.
Aren't I?
Shame on you. Always using that tongue for evil and nothing good.
I beg to differ. I was going to be really crude, but I'll keep it to myself.
I was crude, but in a nice way.
Oh, that's what you think? Okay. Police were called, and once again, they went through her purse to not only find pill bottles, but to find so many that she was charged with intent to sell. Shelley went to prison for 3 months, which in the grand scheme of things was a good thing since it made her get sober.
But like you said earlier, this also brings her tolerance down if she goes back to the drugs.
Exactly. When she got out of prison, she was doing much better. She got a job and an apartment. Her family had high hopes that she'd stay away from Dr. Mann and the drugs. But as life does, things got difficult, and she went back to Dr. Mann, convincing him to prescribe her more pills. As you can expect, she overdosed. Shelley was unconscious at the hospital when her family was called to come say their goodbyes. Shelley passed away at age 24.
Oh my gosh, how is he not charged with murder?
Well, he's not forcing her to take them. Yes, he's prescribing them.
He's just a drug dealer with a prescription pad. That's all he is.
A legal drug dealer, basically.
Pretty much.
Relatives and friends of overdose victims began flooding the medical board with complaints, begging for someone to step in and stop what was happening. Dr. Mann had gotten his license back and people were dying again. The allegations were exactly the same as before, only now the names of the overdose victims were different. This wasn't a coincidence. Dr. Trent Pierce was the head of the Arkansas State Board. He flat out told Dr. Mann that he had been in practice for over 18 years and not once had a single accidental overdose, that what he was doing was not considered the practice of medicine.
Geez, such a sharp tongue. That'll teach him not.
The Arkansas State Medical Board suspended Dr. Mann's medical license altogether, shut down his clinic and his revenue stream. An interesting thing while I was watching the show, Dr. Mann's brother, throughout the entire thing, talks about how his brother is innocent of doing anything wrong. He said things like they wanted to cut him down to size, they took advantage of him, that the last thing his brother would do was put his patients at risk, that he wouldn't jeopardize his profession. Okay, talk about denial.
I don't get why family members come in so strong when they have no idea what's going on. Absolutely none. If you are not there to witness him 24/7, how do you come in that hot?
And I don't know if his brother lived in the United States or if he lived in India.
Oh, yeah. He probably did live in India. It's ridiculous. Don't stick your neck out for bad people.
That's not what he believed, though. Being suspended and having his clinic shut down was a huge blow to Dr. Mann's ego. He was angry. He took it personally and thought it was a hostile act by the board and Dr. Pierce.
Oh, so now he's the victim? The man has zero conscience. Zero.
On February 4th, 2009, Dr. Pierce was leaving his home to go to work, but he noticed something strange. A random spare tire was leaning against the front wheel well of his car. He bent down to move the tire, and as soon as he pulled the tire away from the car, there was an explosion. Dr. Pierce's wife ran outside to see her husband sitting on the ground with his eye out of his socket and his clothes bloody and burned. The police and ATF investigated and found parts of the spare tire everywhere, with one piece having a string attached to it. On the other end of the string was a hand grenade. This was intentional and meant to kill the doctor. Dr. Pierce was rushed into surgery. They needed to remove a bunch of shrapnel that was in his body. He had burns across 18% of his body. Bones were broken. He lost his teeth. His left eye was gone, and his right was impaired. But somehow the doctor survived.
That's crazy.
Trying to figure out who did this, they looked into anyone that might have had an issue with Dr. Pierce. And of course, Dr. Randeep Mann's name came up. The investigators went to visit Dr. Mann. He was pleasant but didn't seem overly concerned. Knowing how narcissistic Dr. Mann is, it wasn't surprising that he was more interested in showing the police his prized possessions, approximately $1 million worth of guns, over 90 fully automatic machine guns, and 2 grenade launchers. When asked where he was at the time of the explosion, he said he was nowhere near West Memphis the morning of the bombing. He said he was home with his wife. Russellville, Arkansas and West Memphis, Arkansas are about 190 miles apart, just for reference. I caught how he said he was home the morning of the bombing, but what about the night before?
Which is when it would have happened, duh.
The investigators didn't have any evidence to prove Dr. Mann was anywhere near Dr. Pierce's house the day of the bombing, or was even involved. A month had passed when a city worker, out on a routine inspection, noticed something strange in a field. An area of dirt looked disturbed, like it had been dug up and then there was the dirt put back in the hole. At first, he thought it was maybe an animal hole or just somebody dumping trash. But curiosity got to him, and he moved the loose soil, and his hand hit something metal. The city worker didn't think much of the box, but just thought it was another piece of junk left in the lot. But when he pried it open, inside were grenades, a box full of them. He backed away and called the police. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. It was me.
I'd be flying. In that moment, I would have learned how to fly and been like, I'm off the ground. I'm not anywhere near him.
When investigators arrived, they counted 98 grenades in total. And not just any grenades, the exact same model used in the Dr. Pierce bombing. That was a shock when officers realized what was around the lot. The lot the box had been dumped in was directly beside the home of Dr. Mann.
What an idiot. And he had also shown them his personal grenade launchers too, right?
Yes, he did.
Oh, so smart.
Oh, it gets better. A search warrant for Dr. Mann's house was obtained since it appeared like he was trying to hide evidence. During the search, they found an empty grenade box with serial numbers on it that happened to be consistent with the serial numbers on the box found in the field. Continuing through the house, they go upstairs and find a spare tire in the shower. A spare tire in the shower?
I've cleaned tires in the shower too, but they were on me.
The spare tires, right?
All those spare tires. A full set.
It wasn't exactly a mystery what he had been doing. He'd been using the tire as practice for what he planned to leave for Dr. Pierce.
Are you sure this guy was a doctor? Because these are beyond stupid mistakes.
Kind of wonder if he's been taking some of his drugs.
Right.
Dr. Mann was arrested and charged, and soon the case moved to trial. In true Dr. Mann fashion, he sat there all confident, composed, as if the whole thing was beneath him. What shocked everyone was that he didn't deny using the grenade. Instead, his defense was that he never meant to hurt anyone. The grenade was only meant to scare Dr. Pierce. In his mind, that somehow made it acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, if he got blown up, that's his fault. It was just supposed to be, scare tactics.
Dr. Pierce took the stand, telling the court that he should be dead. He went over why Dr. Mann was suspended and admitted that when the board met with Dr. Mann, his tone was kind of in a scolding manner. I recall I was not the kindest individual to Dr. Mann as the board chairman, said Dr. Pierce. It almost sounded like he felt bad because felt like he had scolded him. It's a meeting to remove his medical license because he's killing people. You don't approach him with kittens and bunnies.
Oh, yeah. Of course you don't. That's ridiculous. And let's not forget that he's creating and also fueling drug addicts for personal gain. and he's helping them kill themselves, and he's having sex with them, all at their most vulnerable. Yeah, the guy could afford to be yelled at a little bit.
Probably wasn't used to that. Dr. Mann's family was pretty much scratching their heads and confused. They had sat through the testimony, but when it came to the allegations of overprescribing, that was what started everything, they were like, what? Not sure what was true, what wasn't, and what exactly their husband and father had actually been involved in. I kind of felt bad for the kids.
Well, I completely feel bad for his kids and his wife. I mean, if she had no idea. But at some point, you have to be getting a clue, right?
Well, if she's not around either, but it sounded like they had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, and you know what? I shouldn't even say that because I guess if you're just living your life and he's working 7 days a week, it's possible you have no idea what the man's up to.
Well, besides making videos shooting guns, they don't know.
Yeah.
The prosecution also presented testimony from an inmate who alleged that Dr. Mann had offered him $50,000 to kill Dr. Pierce. The defense challenged the credibility of the witness, but either way, the possibility he may have tried to get someone to kill Dr. Pierce was still out there. Dr. Randeep Mann was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Despite...
Yay!
Okay.
That was my sucky whistle.
I wonder what that was. You're losing air again. Despite the verdict, Randeep Mann and his family continue to claim he is innocent regarding the bombing. They have pursued numerous appeals, but the courts have consistently upheld the conviction. In 2010, a federal judge denied Mann's plea for a new trial.
And I'm surprised that this is what he's trying to defend because he already admitted that he planted the bomb to scare him. And now his family thinks that he's not liable for the guy's injuries. I don't know about all this. They're all crazy.
But get this. The same judge also rejected a request for acquittal or new trial for Mann's wife, who had been found guilty of perjury and obstruction of justice. She served a 1-year sentence and later divorced Mann.
Do you have any idea what she was found guilty of? What did she lie about?
I have no idea.
Sounds like maybe she alibied him, but...
It sounds like it.
Huh. So not so innocent.
It's worth mentioning that none of the Arkansas Medical Board's allegations, including claims that Mann exchanged sex for drugs, ever resulted in criminal charges. The accusations never moved beyond the administrative level. That's rough, but from what I believe, no one came forward. You know, all of his patients, nobody came forward to say, yeah, this is what happened.
Yeah, I get it, but wow, what a shame. That could have been another thing.
As of June 2025, he is serving life in a federal prison in Tucson, Arizona. Something that stood out to me was a comment from Ellie's mother about the passing of Ellie. A widow is a woman who lost her husband. A widower is a man who lost his wife. But there's not a word for us. I don't know what it would be, but I think your heart actually breaks. I do. I know it's empty.
How sad. Truly tragic.
And he started off with such great intentions.
That's what it sounds like. But man, he flipped the script really quick, so I don't know. He was not a good person.
No. And he just kept getting worse. I mean, he had chances to, stop doing what he's doing after the first time he was suspended.
Yeah, and then to have the bolas to come back with his entitlement of I need my license back even though people are dying. Nah, I'm glad he's in prison for life. I hope there's no opportunity for parole.
Not that I know of.
Good.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Dr. Randeep Mann.
Yeah. Well, his narcissism ran deep.
You're waiting through this whole episode to say that.
I actually was not. I was like, oh, good opportunity.
Just slide it right in there.
Well, thank you for the story. That was a lot of twists and turns and really tragic, but thanks for sharing that with us. And have fun, take care, and don't forget to let your grimaginations run wild. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. We want to thank you for spending a little time with us. We truly appreciate it. If you'd like to send in your creepy little grim bits, we'd love to hear your personal stories, eerie interests, or strange suggestions. And don't be shy. We love our listeners, and we're excited to hear from you. Email us at grimwitwithdimwits@gmail.com.
Stay connected and follow Grimwit with Dimwits on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, check out our website for more spooky fun at, you guessed it, Grimwit with Dimwits. We'd also really appreciate it if you'd take a moment to rate and review the show. Those 5-star ratings go a long way. Until then, join us again as we dive deep into the strange and unusual things we just can't wrap our skulls around.